You've got to be kidding me. That just seems too good to be true. There's no way that that happened the way that you're saying that it did. I just can't believe it. Have you ever felt like that before? I have felt like that. Just yesterday, it happened to me. I'm riding with JC in the car, and we're on this little 2-lane road. I have to get her somewhere. We are late, and there's a tractor trailer in front of me, and I said, I really do not want to follow this tractor trailer the whole way. We're going to be so late. And in that moment, as I said it, the tractor trailer turns its blinker on and turns randomly. And I looked at JC and said, you've got to be kidding me. That is just too good to be true. Look at that. God is so good. That happens to us so often. And so often we might be guilty of saying, I'm so lucky, or calling that luck. This week, that's what I talked about in my sermon. I talked about how too often we give luck credit for what God is actually doing in our life. Now, we find this teaching, and I built off of this idea. I built this idea from the story of Ruth. And when Ruth looked at her mother and Naomi at the beginning of Ruth chapter 2, and she says, I am going to go out and try to find some food. And Ruth and Naomi allowed her to. And scripture says that it just happened that she was in the field that belonged to Boaz, and Boaz happened to be a relative, and Boaz was an awesome man of God who wanted to take care of Ruth. Like, Ruth had no clue what field she was going into. It couldn't have worked out better for her. It was not luck. It was the providential power of God. And the providential power of God, this is what I told everybody yesterday, because it was probably the first time I've ever used the word providential power of God in my church. And so I explained them that the providential power of God is the belief that God is actively and continually upholds, guides, and governs all of creation and all that happens within it, ensuring that everything works together to fulfill His wise and ultimate purpose. Here's the deal. Luck is not luck. What you call luck is the revealing of the providential power of God. That's what I believe. We too often give luck credit for what God is doing in our life. It's not luck. It's the Lord. And when Ruth walked out into that field, in Ruth chapter 2, let me just read it to you. It says, now there was a wealthy and influential man in Bethlehem named Boaz. This is the setup, who was a relative of Naomi's husband, Elimelech. Verse 2, one day Ruth, the Moabite, said to Naomi, please let me go out into the harvest field to pick up the stalks of grain left behind anyone who was kind enough to let me do it. She says, anyone. I'm believing in faith. That's one of the big things that we have to remember in this. She put her faith in God, and by putting her faith in God, she put herself in a place where she could receive and be blessed by God. And so she says, anyone who is kind enough to let me do it. She had no clue who would. And she didn't know if anybody would actually. They could have sent her home. They could have beat her. Who knows? Naomi replied, all right, my daughter, go ahead. So Ruth went out to gather grain behind the harvesters. And as it happened, like coincidentally, as it happened, she found herself working in a field that belonged to Boaz, the relative of her father-in-law. And here's the thing. Here's the main things. Here's 5 things that I said. If Ruth positioned herself to receive God's provision in such an amazing way, to be in the middle of the providential power of God, what did she do? The first thing she did was she put her faith in God. That's where we have to be. Full of faith, putting our faith in God so that we can receive the providential power of God. She didn't sit around. She was willing to work. She knew there was a need. I'm hungry. Mom, I'm going to go out. And so she didn't sit. So often we want to be blessed by God. We want to receive and experience the providential power of God. But we're just sitting around waiting on God. No, she moved. And when you move, God has room to move in your life. She didn't let fear stop her from starting. She could have been scared to death, but no, she said, I'm going out. And I know somebody's going to be out there that's going to bless me. And then she recognized the need and believed God would bring her someone who would fulfill it. There was a need. Somebody needed to fulfill it. And she knew, I don't know who it will be, but anyone means like someone will. I believe somebody's going to do it. And just so happened, God put her in a place where he could provide for her through a man named Boaz. She walked by faith. And here's the deal. When you put your faith in a big God, luck becomes blessing and coincidence becomes providence. Let me say that again. When you have faith in a big God, luck becomes blessing and coincidence becomes providence. And guys, listen, his provision is proof of his providential power. And he's not just providing for you to make you comfortable, but he's providing for you to make you conformable. He wants to provide for you so that you put your faith in the provider and conform to his ways. God is so good. All the time he is good. And so we need to believe that luck is not luck. Luck is the revealing of the providential power of God. And God is working for you. He is for you. He is for you. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me for Talk About It Tuesday. See ya.